Hi, in this lesson we're going to be talking about light in Octane. Now the first thing I want to do is to quickly create an environment, and I want to start applying a different light to see the different result we get. Now I'm going to start by going to this cube right here, and I'm going to click on the landscape to create a quick landscape in Cinema 4D. So I'm going to click on the display, and I'm going to change the display mode to garage shading lines. So the next thing I want to do is to increase the width and height segments to about 150, width and depth segments to about 150, and I can begin to increase this scale right here to get something a bit more detailed. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is to just quickly load up our Octane interface, and I'm going to hit render. So we want to go to this Octane settings and just quickly load up our quick presets, and we're good to go. Now I want to make sure I go to my settings, turn off this default environment. So I'm gonna have to render to see that update right there. Alright, so this is looking very dark right now because there is no light in our scene. Now I'm going to start by going to my objects, go to my lights, and I'm going to start with the very first one that says Octane Daylight. Now with the Octane Daylight, we have created this daylight system in Octane right here, and if you rotate around, we can see the sun right there. So we can begin to click on this Octane Daylight and rotate the sun's angle, and as you rotate, you see what's happening. We have the sun moving to a different direction right there. I can keep rotating and it's going to come back to where we started from. Now if I rotate this way, the sun comes up. So now we have the Octane Daylight right there. Now the next thing I want to do is just quickly go into the settings, and we'll just start playing with the settings for the Octane Daylight. Now if I click on this right here, we have the first one, which is the sky turbidity. Right, so if you increase this, it's going to increase the turbidity of the sky, and this will pull it down. I usually leave this to default because I really know how use for this. Now the next one is the power, and basically this just increase the intensity of the sun right there. Alright, so this right here allows you to increase the size of the sun. So if you pull this, it's going to increase the sun's size, right? I can reduce the power here to see what's really happening, and if I pull this up, the sun gets bigger, and if I pull this down, the sun gets really smaller. So basically that's what that sun size is doing. And you can change the sky color right here and just give it a custom color if you want. Alright, so you can as well change the sun color. I usually leave that to default. Now I'm going to delete this Octane Daylight and quickly add in a, right, so I'm just going to delete that. Alright, so I want to quickly just create an Octane area light, and I just go to my object, go to my light, click on Octane area light to create that. And currently we are seeing a light in the scene, but it's way too bright. Let me just quickly move this into a very good position. Currently it's way too bright. I want to go to the settings, and alright, so the way you do that is to click on this tag here. So if I go to my light settings, I can use this power to control how bright the light is. So I can just drop this to about 15, and we're going to reduce the intensity of that light, right? So if I go to my visibility, I'm able to turn off the camera visibility and the shadow visibility as well. So this is no longer visible in our scene. Now if I go to my light settings, I can start to mess with the temperature, right? So basically this is self-explanatory. If you go down, you get this really warm temperature right there, and if you take this back up, you get this really nice cool nighttime temperature. So I'm just going to leave that to default. Now for the texture right here, you're able to load in a texture, and this light is going to project that texture right up on this this terrain right here. Now the next one is the distribution, and basically just allows you to distribute your light using the texture as well. Now I can load up a custom color right here into this texture by going to my plugins, Cinema 4D Octane RGB spectrum. Now with this done, I can just open up the RGB spectrum and select a desired color. So basically this is how you change the color of an Octane area light, and now we have our own custom color. So I want to go back. Now the next thing I want to touch upon is the double-sided, right? So if I click on this double-sided, now if you have another object, say at the back of this light is also going to be illuminated, because both parts now are now illuminating light. But if I go back to my Octane area tag, alright, so if I check this off now, you can see that light at the back there is gone. It's only emitting from the front face alone. Alright, so I'm going to just delete this right here. Now the next thing I want to touch upon is this option that says visible on diffuse. Now if I click on this, basically it just means that it's not going to affect any diffuse color of the image or of the scene, right? And basically that's going to make all your scene dark. Now if I turn this back on and I check this visible on specular, let me just quickly drop in a sphere right there in the scene, and let me just apply a specular material right there. Now with this selected and the visible on specular deactivated, it means that this light will be visible in the specular channel of this material. But if I check this back on, now you see what's happening. We are seeing this light through that glass again. So basically that's what this option does. Now if you click on cast shadows, it's going to take away the shadows that this light will have casted if it was turned on, right? So by unchecking this option right here, we see our light is no longer casting shadows, right? So basically that's one of the Alright, so another very powerful light system in Octane is the HDRI. Now HDRI stands for High Dynamic Range Images, right? And so basically the way the HDRI works is to collect light information from an image, right? So it's not just a regular image, but HDRIs are images that are professionally taken to store light information. Now you can download different type of HDRI from free resources like HDRI Avon, right? So that's HDRI Avon, HAVEN.com. Alright, so you can go to that website and you can download different types of HDRI maps, right? And they are all high resolution HDRI maps. Now I'm just going to click on this HDRI map currently, and I'm just going to load up an HDRI I already have. So I'm just going to go to my content browser right here, and I have some HDRI from my HDRI pack, and I'm just going to click on this and drag into this HDRI channel right here. And before that, I want to open it up and I just drag it here. Right, so I want to click no, and now we have an HDRI in the scene. If I go back a bit here, I'm able to just rotate round, and now we have our HDRI lighting the entire scene right here. So basically that's how the HDRI works. So in the other lessons, I'm going to be using this HDRI map, and you're going to fully understand the way it works. So that's that about light in Octane Render, and I will see you in the next lesson.